Hello. You're probably going to want a little sugar in your food storage, so we're going to talk about that today. The least desirable way of storing your food storage, excuse me, your sugar in your food storage is to leave it in the paper sack. This has been in the paper sack quite a while, and it's not quite as hard as a rock. You can push it a little bit. It's still usable. I'll talk about that more in a few minutes. It's still usable at this point. If this is the only thing you can do right now is stick a bag of sugar on the shelf. This was in my kitchen, and it absorbed enough moisture in the Midwest to turn pretty hard. If this is all you can do, then do that. If you can do more, then do more. 5-pound bag of sugar doesn't cost that much right now. Very versatile, can be used in a zillion ways. So this is the least desirable method in the paper sack that it comes in. The second least desirable, or next most desirable method, is a plastic container with a lid. Now the reason this is not that desirable is because it breathes. When the barometric pressure goes up and down, air will suck in and out of the top of this container with the lid on. I will tell you, I got this container at a small grocery store in a neighborhood, and the grocery store is no longer there, and it's been in this container for probably more than 20 years now, and it has, I'm sorry I do this backwards, it has lumps in it, but as you can see, it doesn't, wrong way, it doesn't take much to turn those lumps back into, you see it pouring. It doesn't take much to turn those lumps back into sugar. You can smack it around a little bit and it turns back into granulated sugar. It's very usable. I opened this up and started using it for cookie dough recently, and it's been just fine, just lovely. So that's your next most desirable, or next least desirable, depending on how you want to look at it. The next step up is a container that doesn't breathe, and that's the foil pouch. You do not want to put an oxygen absorber in this foil pouch with sugar. You do for the other things you dry pack, but not the sugar. Foil pouch is going to be it's going to be airtight if you don't puncture it, and it will protect from moisture. The next most desirable method, this probably should have been before the Mylar bag, it's just a plain glass jar. It doesn't have to be a canning jar. Any glass jar that's clean and completely dry will do. Just screw the top on, and now it's safe from being punctured. I guess that would be the next most desirable then. It's safe from being punctured, and it also this may breathe a little if it's not vacuum sealed, but not significantly. The next most desirable method, probably the most desirable method in my book, is the number 10 can. It's a little more expensive this way. If you package it yourself, it's not too terribly expensive. If you get it commercially, it's a little more expensive. So, least desirable paper bag. Don't throw it away if it turns into a brick. Next most desirable, plastic container with a lid. It breathes, but after 20 years, it's still very usable. Next most desirable container, toss up. I would say the canning jar comes next, then the Mylar bag, and the most desirable container for sugar would be number 10 can. You can get those, you can package them yourself, or you can buy them already packaged and have them delivered to your front door or your back door. So the other types of sweeteners, of course, are honey, which honey will keep pretty much indefinitely. If it crystallizes, it just has to be warmed just slowly, gently, to bring it back to a liquid state. Corn syrup is fine if you have recipes that call for corn syrup and you want to use that. Fructose is available commercially. That's fine for sweetener. And as far as brown sugar and confectioner's sugar go, I would prefer to have both of those in number 10 cans. Not necessary. The same thing holds true with the containers I just showed you with brown sugar and confectioner's sugar, from the least desirable to the most desirable. I did take several 1-pound poly bags of brown sugar when they were on sale, and in my naivete, I took them and snugly packed them into an electrosol bucket that had dishwasher detergent in it. I cleaned it really good, but it's not a food safe plastic, and it had detergent in it, so that wasn't the best thing I could have done. Now, what about the quantity of sugar that you want to store? You might just go through a 5-pound bag a year right now, but if you are in dire straits, you might be baking all your baked goods. You might be putting sugar into sweetened drinks with drink mixes, and a cup for every 2-quart container that you make of drink mix. You might be using it for muffins, for cakes, for cookies. We go through an awful lot of snack food as a I shouldn't say even as a country, as a people. We go through quite a lot of snack food worldwide. If those were all things that you had to produce with your own sugar, you'd be using quite a lot of sugar. It would be a lot more than 5 pounds a year. I would want significantly more than that. I would like to bump up my sugar storage, and I would like a lot more than that. I guess I won't go into details, but I would like a lot more than that. So that's the beginning of your it's the beginning of the topic of baked goods, and we're going to go on to some other related topics in the following videos. There's an incredible peace that comes with knowing that you can make these things for your family because you have the ingredients on hand. And even if the sugar sits for 20 years, like my plastic bucket of sugar, it was no less usable to me after 20 years, and the cookies tasted just as good. They were just fine. I had no problem with them at all. There's a lot of things you're not going to want to put into a plastic bucket and leave for 20 years, but sugar is one that can probably safely be done that way if it's kept away from contaminants. So that's all for this time. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Confectioner's sugar and powdered sugar, confectioner's sugar, same thing. Brown sugar can all be stored in similar ways as the white granulated sugar. So pour a little sugar on it. God bless. Bye.